yeah, and, you know, and a lot of the polls that are available now, they're all saying that, you know, what is it, they call it the approval rating of the Congress, the Democrats or the Republicans or the Bush administration are in the basement. And I would hope that most people out there would see, or my belief is that it really seems like they're not listening to us. I mean, that whole amnesty thing that they tried to ramrod through what we were watching. You would have thought that would have made a point to them not to try it again, but now they're like breaking it up and they're trying to sneak things in a little bit here and a little bit there, like a little dose
of the legislation.
Yeah.
There is obviously a very big, major disconnect between the elected officials of both major parties in this country and the American public. And as you and I were discussing over in the green room, we were talking about Eliot Spitzer, who is the mayor of one of the most governor, excuse me, I'm sorry, I was thinking Giuliani, who is governor of one of the most traditionally liberal states, high immigrant population in the country, New York, wildly democratic. But when he tried to pass through this driver's licenses for illegal immigrants, there's 77% opposition. And I mean, in a place as liberal as New York, you can imagine what that would be in other parts of the country.
Yeah, that's a very good point. I didn't think about that. I really didn't think about that because, yeah, if that's like a weather vane of what people are thinking, that should speak volumes, especially to a lot of the political pundits that are running these campaigns for some of these people running for elected office. Yeah, that really was surprising. And but you know, maybe that's reinforcing the fact that people, I think, are starting to understand that they need to get active. I'm hoping people will get active, you know, in the election process and not just sit back and wait for things to happen. Every election day I'm always kind of disappointed because of the turnout. Mm-hmm. It's so terrible. And when you figure out some of these elections, like I know the mayoral election, I mean, the difference that made him mayor was like, you know, 2,800 votes. And to me, that's just so shameful. But I guess there's people that are activists, and then there's people that take a little bit more, take a little more to get them enthused or involved, yeah. Because
and there's a large section of the American public that is really just completely uninterested in politics to begin with. But this particular presidential campaign, there's no question it's going to be a key issue. You see the trouble that Hillary Clinton has had from members of her own party based upon this issue. I would really think that in 2008, it's going to be the Iraq War, and it's going to be the border problem. Those are going to be two very major issues coming up. So there's only to a certain degree that elected officials are going to be able to continue to avoid this issue.
Yeah. Let me just say real quick here, this is a call-in show, so, you know, if you're out there sipping your gin and tonic and you're watching the show, please call in and contribute here. We really want to hear all sides of this discussion, so, you know, give us a buzz, but we'll keep plowing forward here. Yeah, that really is a good point because I don't know if the border issue would have been that high up on the list if it wasn't for a lot of people getting behind the stone to roll it up the hill with activism and these groups that you mentioned.
You know what's very interesting. I think a person who can receive a lot of credit, whether you approve of his politics or not, but someone who forced illegal immigration from being a regional issue in America, you know, border towns, to a more national issue was Jim Gilchrist, the founder of the Minutemen. And incidentally, he's going to be coming to Long Beach State University, about 25, 30 miles south of us. He's going to be coming this coming week, and there's going to be a debate. And I am sure that he will garner a lot of attention simply because it's a very divisive issue. And in a place like Southern California, where you and I have both spent many years, there's no question it affects every aspect of your life.
Yeah, I'd like to go to that. I certainly hope he gets a better reception at Long Beach University than he got at Columbia, because I thought that whole Columbia University reception was just shameful. And that, that brings up another thing. It's so funny to see, you might say, the progressives or the liberals not letting people speak. And they're supposed to be the side of the argument where, let's let everybody talk.
And there's supposed to be a degree of tolerance.
Yeah, and it was like just shameful, Gestapo brown shirt tactics when that happened.
That's unfortunately, that's not so much specific to the immigration debate. I think that's inherent in a lot of really high-quality universities, just in general. There is this, and we've seen this here because you and I, we've seen the type of reception that border security advocates receive from some members of the opposition who really strongly disagree. They're not interested in discussing it with you. It's not that they have meritorious arguments to make. They want to yell racism. They want to physically bully you if they can, and they want to intimidate you. And I think that a lot of that, when it gets caught on film, when it gets picked up by the radio, a lot of middle class Americans, they have a very strong reaction to that, and it doesn't sit well. And I think that's one of the small reasons we've seen such a profound shift in sentiment in this country to the point where it has become a major issue. You have these primaries coming up in Iowa, right in the middle of the country, not Texas, not Arizona. All of the candidates, both parties, are saying they're hearing repeated questions: immigration, immigration, immigration.
Well, I hope they keep that drumbeat up. But lately, what seems to be happening, and very distressing to me, is there seems to be an increase not only in the shouting down and the name calling that you talked about, but just pure violence. There was a situation in the West Valley here at the Home Depot Day Labor Center where a gentleman got hit in the head with a large piece of concrete and had a lot of stitches, and it was purportedly or allegedly done by some of these day laborers that were looking for work there. And how they can go from seeking a job to start attacking people just voicing their First Amendment rights is a giant leap to me. And then there was the gentleman, Monty, down in San Diego, that
a special education teacher.
Yeah, a special education teacher who the day laborers said that, what was it, they said that he jumped him, and then he got caught into a court situation
where he went down the photograph, and then the day laborers suggested that he essentially picked a fight with 8 to 12 guys, and then he wound up getting criminally prosecuted. Fortunately, he was found not guilty on all charges.
Right. So that kind of is distressing to see that people are sort of, I don't know, do you think that's just frustration, or what do you think is the motivation of that?
I think there's no question it's frustration, especially in a place like Southern California that you and I know well. Southern California is the illegal immigration capital of the United States. And one of the things I think that bothers many Americans about this issue is, where is the rule of law? And the problem you see in places when certain rules are not enforced, when day laborers are allowed to illegally look for work that violates Title 8 of the U.S. Code, avoid income tax, and these things go on for a period of years, and then somebody stands up and said, no, this is not okay. Mm-hmm. It's completely different than what they anticipate, and you will get violent reactions. And why should they fear it? There are certain laws that don't apply to them. Why should they think that they're automatically obligated to follow others?
Yeah, and I guess some of that is because of Los Angeles is, what is it, Title 40, or what's that, the LAPD rule? They can't, Special Order 40, that they can't inquire on a person's status. Immigration status, and I guess until they're actually arrested.
The police are in the unfortunate position in the city of Los Angeles where they will know that there is a violent criminal who just got out of jail. They know this person was deported, recently came back, but because they haven't found him committing another crime, they can't pull him over and take this dangerous person off the street because they're forbidden about making any inquiries about the individual's immigration status aside from in conjunction with seeing another crime committed.
Yeah, I think that's a little bit